In today's 1-hour video, you can run through the fundamentals of kickboxing, then move on to intermediate level striking, and finally finish with advanced level knees, punches, and kicks. So let's start off, guys, and get right into the stance. There are a number of different ways, and one of the things I really don't like doing is show you guys one way. There's only one way to do this. No, there's lots of ways to do everything. I'm going to show you a number of different stances, and you can choose from there which one works best for you. For myself, I like shoulder width. I like having my toes pointing this direction, and I really like, generally because I'm bouncing a lot of time, I like keeping my back heel disconnected from the ground. I find that right there gives me a lot of power to push forward, and then when I push backwards, I can catch myself on that ball of the foot without having my weight tip over my heels. So pretty much all the time for me, unless I'm taking a break and I'm like this, I'm gonna have my back heel disconnected from the ground and then my toes pointing this way. Now, there's no exact rule that you have to do things my way. You can narrow your stance up if you want and have your knees more or less in line. You could bend from there and have that stance. The main thing that you need to figure out with your stance is where you feel the most comfortable. If you are this type of fighter where you're going to be bouncing, sort of Muay Thai stylist, you can get away with flat feet. But if you want to be moving around and a little more mobile, it is better to be up on the balls of your feet. And when I bounce like that, I just personally find that a narrow stance doesn't make me feel as comfortable. A little wider feels better. Both knees bend very slightly, and then from there I need to look at what my upper body is doing. I don't want to have my back straight like this. I like to curl everything just a little bit, compact through the stomach, pull the shoulders forward just a tiny bit because now they become protective points of your body. They can protect your jaw. And then from there we move to the guard because our stance is locked in. We're feeling balanced. Our hands need to be in a certain point where we feel comfortable. Now again, I'm not going to tell you one way to do it because there's so many. You can have your hands out here, far from your head. You can have your hands down here, just below your eye level. I prefer taking both my hands and putting them just above my eyebrows, leaving a little space between my arms that I can peek through. Right from here, I'm able to do the least amount of work to block shots. We're going to get to that after, but this is my preferred spot. If you want, you can go out here. Does not really matter as long as you feel comfortable with your defense and your ability to shoot hands out and bring them back. And we always want to be aware of protecting the body. That's what the elbows are going to be doing. The elbows are going to be there to block the straight shots, to block down to the body. So we want to make sure the elbows don't flare excessively out. Once we've locked in our stance, our chosen stance, and our chosen hand position, we're then ready to move on to the striking aspect. So let's start quickly with the straight punches. They're the most basic, they're the easiest. We come right from our head, we go right out to our target, which is most likely directly in front of us. As we throw out, we make sure our palm is facing downwards. My hip leads the shot, my arm and shoulders follow. When I reach the extension of my punch, I want to make sure my shoulder protects my jaw. I could just do this. I could just throw there, but then I leave myself open to overhand. So I like to teach when I throw my straight punches, keeping my shoulders tucked upon extension. As I extend out, I want to keep my elbow tucked because flaring up does two things. It leaves my ribcage open for kicks or potentially punches, but it also is an indication of what's coming. The elbows stay tucked. I twist through my feet and my hips, my shoulders follow, and then I twist out, palm faces down, shoulder protects the cheek, I pull right back. As people start throwing multiple straight punches, very often they get a little bit too excited and they forget about pulling the other hand back fast enough. So if I throw two punches, I never want to have two hands out at once. I want to always have one hand out, one hand in. And I alternate to the exact same target. We're not hitting multiple targets. We're not moving our hands around. It's every time to the exact same target, straight out. Now from there we can move on to hooks. When I throw my hook out, I have three options. My thumb faces up, my thumb faces down, or my thumb faces towards me. This is personal preference. Europeans teach like this. When I was in Thailand, they taught me like this. Most of the Americans seem to throw like this. This is my preferred method. This feels best on my hand and my wrist when I make impact, but I have thrown like this and there's nothing wrong with it. It just aggravates me a bit more, so I prefer not to do that. When I throw my hooks, I'm looking for a couple things. First off, my arm is horizontal. I want my elbow lined up with my fist. It doesn't matter if I'm hitting head level or body level. My elbow is behind the fist so that when I hit, I have all the impact coming into my elbow, as opposed to when I hit and my wrist folds because there's nothing back there supporting it. So elbow is high. We're also looking for the body, just like on the straight punches, to torque, and I twist my hips before the strike lands. Lots of rotation through the lower body. If I was to put my hands on my hips and just practice the motion without any arms going, it would just look something like that. And I'm actually just driving through my feet and my hips, and then I can add in the hands throwing. Whichever one's not is still protecting, just like on the straight punches, elbow tucked in really tight. I don't want to lift and then rotate. I want to rotate, 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 and start lifting and then snap the arm at the end to get that extra power. And then from here we move into the uppercuts. The big mistake people usually make on uppercuts, if they want to hit a target here, is they start with their hand by their cheek, they pull their hand down, and then they go to hit. We don't want to do that for uppercuts when we're learning. We want to learn with our legs. We're in our stance, we bend our knees, we pull our striking shoulder backwards, and then from there we unwind our body and we come up to the target. I drop, I twist, I unwind. If I'm going to throw my lead arm, I drop, I twist, I unwind. Again, elbow directly below the fist. We don't want to be coming out on a weird angle. When we hit up and we're trying to lift somebody's jaw, we want the support of the rest of the arm behind the fist. So just being very diligent about not pulling your arms down to hip level and letting the knees do the work. And then once I strike with my uppercut, always pulling my hand directly back to my head for defensive purposes. That's what we're looking for in the uppercuts to the jaw level. Like I said, guys, we're going to be breezing through this really fast today. So now we're moving on to kicks. On our front kicks, we are generally trying to lift our leg up, have our heel directly below the knee. My standing leg has done a pivot. That means that the foot twists. If I try to twist and my foot is flat on the ground, it's going to stick. So as I lift my knee up, I raise up to the ball of my foot, and then I land my heel back down. I want to make sure that I'm very, very light on the heel area through this, because heel connected to the ground will just make you stick and it'll make the pivot very difficult. If you do not pivot, I'm going to just control this here so I can go very slow. Hold this. If I don't pivot, look at the distance I get. I extend out, and that's as far as my leg goes. With a pivot, I now turn my toes off to this side. It's at 90 degrees. I get to there. And then if I add a lean back, I can stretch even further. So instead of being very rigid with my body, keeping my toes straight towards my target and keeping my head upright, where my kick looks like that, I do all the other motions that I just indicated, pivot, lean back, and I can stretch right through the target. Now we're not sliding upwards, we're bringing our knee up, we're extending out, we're pulling back. Now, the foot position. It's like I'm trying to point my toes like a ballerina, or my foot, sorry, I'm pointing my foot like a ballerina, but then I pull my toes back and I strike with the ball of the foot. If I want to kick high, I bring my knee extra high. If I want to kick low, I let my knee go lower. The line from the hip to the knee indicates what direction I'm going to kick. Now we're only going to focus on 2 kicks today because we're just covering basics. We did the front kick. We're now going to talk about the roundhouse kick, where my front kick is coming directly into somebody's stomach. That's what we're aiming for, right for the abs there. The round kick is coming around to the rib cage, the head, or to the thigh. The pivot on a round kick, these toes turning, that is essential because I need my shoulders to turn. So when I throw my round kick, I've turned completely off to the side. If I do not pivot, that's as far as I can go. My kick is going to lack power without turning through that foot. So I disconnect my heel, I turn, and my whole body follows. It's essentially, if I was just trying to learn this without having any pivot, I could just lift my leg up and just practice this motion. My leg is horizontal, heel to knee, and I just extend, rechamber, extend, rechamber. From there, when I'm down, I turn to that position, and then I have 2 options. Either I'm doing a karate sort of style kick where I kick and I pull, or I just let my leg go right through. And I just get that full power Muay Thai kick. On the roundhouse kick, I am looking for a pointed toe. I'm not striking with my toes though. I'm either going to strike with the upper foot, maybe if I was going up to head level, even better, striking with the lower shin. The hands are also very important in this. When I kick, if I'm kicking with my right leg, my right arm swings down, but my left hand has to stay right up to protect my head. If I want to kick with my left leg, I can do a little jump, switch my stance, and then I'm kicking with my left leg, so my left arm swings down. It's always good to recap the basics. Either you're learning and you're going through them, or just recapping what your hands are doing. Even advanced people, you sometimes see them preload their hands up. They start going like, oh, and swinging. All I need to do is keep the one hand to my head and the other one drops. That's my motion. Anything more than that is an indication of what I'm getting ready to throw, which means I'm telegraphing. All right, from here I want to move on to our knee strikes. When we throw our knee, we're looking for, very similar to a front kick, we're coming straight up the middle. But instead of having my heel away from my bum, I'm pulling my heel tight to my bum. And instead of pivoting like we were before on our standing leg, we are now going to stretch the height of the foot as much as possible. It's like I'm trying to come up to this position and poke myself up. But instead of going up, I'm poking my knee through the target. We're not grabbing the head and dragging down and trying to bring this knee as high as possible. For most knees, we're going to the belly. So we're drawing up and poking out, disconnecting my bottom heel from the ground and going through my opponent's stomach. Now, if you want to practice the basic hand position, you can imagine grabbing, pulling both hands to the opposite hip, and then dropping. And we're never going to be grabbing anybody anyway like this, because if we're grabbing to the head, we'd probably just knee to the head. And then once we grab, we can initiate clench, but I'm just talking right now about what the hands actually do. Pulling to the hip is a good beginner stage. Then we start pulling the hands higher so that when I knee towards you guys, I actually protect my face from any potential straight punches. If I go to throw a knee and somebody throws a punch at me, I've protected myself with my hands. It's opposite elbow to opposite knee. Just pulling that arm across. All right, continuing to speed through this, we are now talking about our hand defense. If you're at home and you want to work the basics, the basic hand defense, I'm just going to give you a couple, is if a straight punch comes, let's say a left hand, you throw a left hand at me, I take my right hand and I knock it to the side. A little bit of shoulder motion. I don't just use my arms. I can actually engage my shoulders and I just pat it across. So if the punch comes and somebody knocks it to the side, the punch is just redirected and it'll just miss. I don't want to do a windshield wiper motion where I go down. I want to come across. And I can work either arm. So I can just stand here and imagine, ooh, left hand, right hand, right, left, right, left, right. That's the first form of defense for the straight punches. The second form, we're not going to worry about slipping today. The second one of actually blocking is taking my hands and doing what I call a turtle shell. I have my gloves to my forehead and I just turtle shell up. It's very important to have a proper stance. We talked about this before. Not having my back straight. If my back is straight and I have my hands up and I turtle shell, the person hits me and I get knocked backwards. But if my back is bent and I'm shelled up a little bit, I have that round bit to my back and my stomach is strong, when I get hit, I just get knocked back a little bit like that. So the proper stance is important. I can work my parries, these are called parries, or I can work my turtle shell. I still see in front. I'm not closing it completely. Still stays a little bit open, but not enough for the boxing glove to make it through. So I can block here, I can block there, I can block down the middle. If I want to block a hook, I like to reach behind my ear. My hand never disconnects from my head. I slide it up and I grab the back of my head, protecting that entire side. If I want to block the other side, I come up. And if I want to block the body hooks, I just drop elbow to hip by bending my knees. Elbow to hip. So now I have straight punches, turtle shell on the straight punches, blocking head hooks to the side, bringing those elbows up, or blocking the body shots. And we can put all that together. And I just start working. Oh, I'm blocking. And I'm working away. Oh, I got overwhelmed. Turtle shell. Back down to the body. And you just start clipping that all together to make some nice hand defense. Now for the legs, we're going to keep it extra basic today. We're only going to have 2 blocks that we're going to work. We're going to work only round kick defense. Round kick defense number 1, somebody goes to kick me down on the thigh. My hands are up, they do not move. They never drop in height. I lift my leg up, not directly in front, because if I get kicked right now, it's my calf that takes the impact. That hurts. If I go too far out to the side, the kick will come and catch my standing leg. I go on a 45-degree angle. I pull my toes up to flex out my muscles around my shin to help support it. I go fairly level with my leg, sort of hip to knee. My hands stay up and I check the low kick. I can check there. If it comes to the other side, I can either come across or I can utilize my other leg. Very often it's easier because you're usually a little bit heavier on the back leg. It's easier to just pick up the front leg to get the blocking happening. And then if I see them coming here and I know I can't block it, then I can transition my weight. For the body round kicks, we have the option of coming elbow to knee, although that's not my favorite. My favorite way of dealing with the body round kicks is to do what I call a cross block. The round kick is coming to this arm. I take my opposite arm, I reach across, and I have about 70-80% of the impact absorbed through the glove and the wrist area of that arm. I bend my knees, I twist my hips, and I put some weight into that kick so it doesn't knock me over. This from here leads me into positions where I can counter back. I can block and I can hit them back. If it comes to the other side, I bend both knees, I drop my weight, this hand stays up to protect me the entire time, and the other arm, boom, comes across. Boom, comes across. This is fast, and it should be about that pace there. Block, block. It comes down to the leg, the kick comes down to the leg, check, check, block. These are the ones that I personally like to do. We could spend a whole hour on leg defense. We're crushing it into a short little period of time here, but it's enough that you guys can learn the basics. Now what we have to do is put it all together and utilize shadow boxing. Shadow boxing is an opportunity for you guys to practice everything you know in a nice controlled environment where you need to imagine an opponent in front of you. If you just go here and you're just sort of and that's all you're doing and it's always offense, it's not very good shadow boxing. Shadow boxing should be simulation in your mind of a fight. So I'm moving around and I try to put a combination together, maybe a 1, 2, 3, and then I imagine, oh, they're coming towards me. I move back a little bit, and then I move in again, 1, 2, and then maybe they run towards me. I stop them with the front kick, and then they throw a kick at me. I block it, and I counter back, and I counter with that. And it's just a nice fluid pace where you can practice all your techniques, you can work the blocking, you can do everything, and get ready for bag work, pad work, sparring, whatever else might come after the shadow boxing and after the technical aspect is taken care of. Today we're going to be covering slipping, striking, footwork, defense, catching kicks, and finally, how to effectively utilize fakes. What I want to start with is our punching. Our punching is not now going to be single shots. We're not even going to worry about throwing 2 shots. All right, that is something you can piece together by yourself. What we need to do to get intermediate is start worrying about what our feet are doing and what our head is doing. Because if I simply just stand here, if this is all I have, just hoop, 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 there's many issues there. The first one being that if I'm trying to get to somebody who's right here and I'm standing back here and I'm trying to hit them, how do I get to them properly? I have to learn to push my feet forward. When we move forward and we punch, the most important thing is we don't jump. We don't leap in the air. We want to be able to keep our weight low, extend our stance, shrink our stance, and just as my foot makes contact, as soon as the foot touches the ground, I time the punch and I land it. But sometimes that's not enough on punches. Sometimes if you have the shorter arms and you go to step forward and throw your shot, you get hit in the face because the other guy throws the same thing. So an intermediate way to get your head in a safe position is as you punch, you drop your head to the side. And that's what I want to start with today. I want to start with getting our head off the center line, which is very similar to just slipping from side to side, except as I slip, I punch. And you can just start off like so. Hands tight to your head. As you slip down, make sure one hand stays connected to the head, because if you slip and you drop your hand, you're coming right into a potential round kick. My hand stays up locked to my head. I slip and I throw my jab. I lift up, I go to the other side, I slip, and I throw my cross. And I work from side to side. Let's do 10 together. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now to make that an even higher skill level, you have to be able to move in, throw your shot, and get your head off the center line. But right now, for the intermediate level, I think just starting from here and working that head off the center line is enough. Keep in mind, and this is very important, you don't have to slip the punch and continually move your head every shot. Generally, it's on entry. When I push forward, that's when I'm worried about what my head is doing. Once I've moved forward and I've got my range, then a lot of times from there, I can start throwing and then slip if I need to, or block if I need to. But it's not slip to the side, slip to the side, slip to the side, slip to the side. If you start doing too much slipping as you throw combos, you're gonna find your weight, your balance, your power is gonna go down. So from here, let's just put together, push forward. As I push forward, my head moves off the center line, and then we'll add the cross hook with our head nice and high. So we go 5 counts, jab, cross hook, head off the center line. And 1, just nice and smooth. 2, move forward, move back. 3, 4, and 5. And this is a very, very important thing to know because you will not always be the taller fighter. You might be the tallest fighter in your division, but you're eventually going to end up sparring somebody who's taller than you. When that happens, your long range and just punching from here all the time doesn't work. You have to learn to move that head. Now in the Back to Basics beginner video, we talked very, very quickly about how to throw a knee. But today I want to get more in depth on it and get very focused on what your hands are doing, because we didn't discuss that too much last time, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Very often when I go to gyms and I see people throwing knees, they imagine they're grabbing and they pull. They pull down to the hip. And that's generally what they practice. And that idea is great. If you have your hands around the back of somebody's neck and you're driving them in, you're pulling their head down lower as your knee comes up to get a knee to the face. But the two issues with this is, number one, most people aren't even allowed to knee to the face. If you're in the gym, you're sparring, you're not going to do that. If you're an amateur fighter, you're also not allowed to do that. It's only for the professionals who need to worry about head knees. Issue number two, and this is far more important for me, when my hands come down to hip level, my head is completely exposed. I want to be very cautious when I throw knees that my hands are in a position of protection. They're guarding up my head, because a knee is within punching range as opposed to a kick where I lean back. If my hands are really lazy, my head's still out of range. But for the knee, I'm right in that punch zone. So I want to make sure that my hands are doing something proper. Now, we're going to go through two general choices. We're going to imagine that we don't have this double hand clench, but that our hands are here. From here, what I like to do, my personal preference, is when I throw a knee, let's say I'm using my right knee, my right hand stays where it is. The opposite arm is going to come in front of my face, and that right there is going to sort of balance me out. It's a counterbalance, because if I just throw my knee hard by itself, I'm going to struggle to get back. For me, I find that the shoulder takes the lead, you're going to fall forward. But if you can twist your shoulder the opposite direction of the knee, you get a nice counterbalance that you can pull out of very quickly. And on top of that, the hand that pulls across your face becomes protection for any straight punches that come down the middle. And same thing, if I go off my lead leg, I do a little skip and I throw my knee, this hand stays right up high, just below my vision, so I can still see through, I can still see where the gloves are, but enough that if any shots come, they're going to bank off my elbow. Now the other option that I also really like is using whatever knee I'm throwing, using the same arm to control their neck. So from here, instead of going opposites, if I'm throwing my right knee, the left hand stays by the head. The right hand reaches out. I can either control right on top of the head, or I can go across their head, control around the back of the neck. I reach out and I throw my knee. I also like this one because as I put my arm out like this side is protected from hooks, this side is protected from hooks. Straight punches are not going to happen because the elbow's connected there. The danger is the uppercut. But I don't reach, pause, and knee. I just step in, grab knee, step out. Step in, grab knee, step out. And if I'm using my left leg, whether I'm skipping or walking through, I step through, I control, I pull them in. When I pull them in, I'm breaking their balance as well. So they get drawn down, they get kneed in the stomach, and it's very hard to get power on your punches from here. So you guys can play around with both of these at the intermediate level. Instead of pulling your hands down to your hips or imagining that double hand clench, your hands are up. You're working off your punches, a 1, 2, 3, and then I throw my knee. or maybe a step through cross, long guard, or a double jab something and then a long guard. The long guard is something that you will see the Thai fighter, somebody like Bakao, use very often. Bakao actually uses both arms in front. I like to have one back personally. And then the cross block is something that you'll see more of the European style fighters utilize. Right there, they just cross in front of their face. Very, very important when you're throwing these to protect your head, because like I already said, you are within punch range. All right, guys, let's quickly move into defense. For the defense today, I want to start on the hands. I draw my arms up, I protect my head. This is sort of my turtle shell here, especially when I close off. And this is a fine guard, but if I just do this and somebody starts hitting me, it's very easy for me to just become a punching bag. I'm just getting jolted from side to side. So what I like to learn to do is to take my hands against my forehead and slide them up. And I use my elbows as almost something that's going to ricochet the punch off. If a straight punch comes to me and I can just shift my hips and lift an arm, I still see through my right eye, but my left eye is blocked. I block the punch, and because my hips have turned, I have my counter shot. Block, counter back, block, counter back. I can't let this hand disconnect from my head, because if I take the shot, it's actually going to hit my head and hurt me. So my hands stay right tight to my head, and I practice sliding up, knocking the shot up, counter. 1, 2, or other way. 1, 2, 1, 2. I can throw any style of punch back. I can come with the body shot, the head shot. One of the reasons I really like these is if you get somebody who's sloppy, somebody who doesn't throw punches really sharp and tight to your head, but kind of lets them come over and loop behind. Much more common as an amateur, you're gonna get people who are sloppy, and instead of the punch landing here or here or here, it comes behind the head. If I keep my hands like this, the whole back of my head is open. But if I block like that, I've protected everything. And I've utilized this in a number of fights to make sure the back of my head is not gonna get caught, because getting hit in the back of the head is terrible. It really throws you for a loop. But unfortunately, it's very hard for judges to notice whether it's the front or slightly back, and you don't want to be the victim of those backward shots that are trying to plead with the judge that, oh, he hit me in the back of the head, but the judge is already in the middle of the count. It's not gonna go well for you. So just learn to utilize arms up to protect the back of the head. Throw your counter shot. So for this one, on your own, what you can do is practice right from here. Just set your weight down, bend your knees, hands to your head, and just practice shifting those arms around. Never let them leave your head. My hands never ever leave, and then I practice throwing my counter shots in. And this is what you should be doing when you're shadow boxing. I'm shadowing, and I go, oh, block, block. Back to shadow with attack, and then I'm working defense. Lots of blocking in between, so I'm not just thinking constantly offensively. In terms of blocking kicks, what I want to quickly run through today is how to block a front kick. We didn't discuss this last time, and this is just a little bit more intermediate than what we did last time. Last time we just dealt with round kicks. On the front kick, I want to talk about scooping it. And you might go, oh, super beginner, I know this, but let's break down the little details, because the little details make all the difference. Let's start off very quickly with, if I'm in my fighting stance and somebody throws a front kick at me, and I just stand here and I try to scoop the kick out, there's a good chance I'm still going to take impact of that kick. And I've talked about this before in my breakdown videos. You can check out one of those there. When the kick comes, I want to hollow out. I'm just creating a little bit of space. I'm not jumping backwards, because jumping backwards puts me out of range from my counter shot. I just hollow out. My lead leg pulls back. My bum scoots out. And now from there, my stomach has moved back 2 or 3 inches. And then I can go through on my scoop. Now, very important on the scooping technique. If I drop my arms and I just come down low and I push the leg to the side, I'm probably going, look at, I did it well. The leg moved to the side, but no. This is the most important part to me of this whole thing. Keep in mind, a front kick doesn't always come to the stomach. It can come up to your jaw. If you lower your arms and then scoop low and you misread the kick and it comes up to your face, you're gonna eat that front kick. But if you keep your hands high here and you start scooping down right in front of your face, if the kick comes high, it's just gonna catch your forearm and not your face. So whenever you scoop a kick, you go a whole circle. My arm starts here, circles down all the way back, down all the way back. And that's my motion right there. I'm using my forearm upon impact, the soft side of my arm, right by my palm, slightly higher up the arm. And from there, I'm just blocking and letting my momentum pass through to utilize motion to knock that front kick out of the way. As I utilize that scooping motion, protecting my face, I hollow out at the same time. And then from there, it's very easy for me to scoop and counter back because I'm still within range. I scoop, I counter back. If I do the other side, I block the right round kick, then I just do a little snap. And I don't have to worry about putting in loads of power. It's just that their kick missed and mine landed. All right, guys, that was some intermediate striking, a little bit of intermediate defense. We will definitely add on to everything in my technical advanced guide. Keep your eye out for that soon. From here, I want to talk about footwork. And footwork is nothing that you need to nail down when you're a beginner. But as you get more advanced, you should definitely become more and more proficient at your movement. Now, when I'm standing, I don't want to have both feet going straight up and straight down like a bunny rabbit, but I also don't want to jump from left foot to right foot. I have a few different options. The first one is just to let my weight go back and forward between my feet. That's kind of more of a Muay Thai style, but that's fine if you're one of those guys who likes checking kicks like that. You need to have your weight constantly shifting. If you want to bounce like so, you need to get the weight through the balls of the feet, disconnect your heels, and it's just a little motion forward and back, forward and back. You should also be able to move sideways, and you can just take little angles, and you're very fast in this position. You're very quick at moving in and out and sideways. But very important to remember that the balls of the feet stay on the ground, the heels can disconnect, and that gives you a very explosive forward and backward motion. And if you guys are looking for a drill to learn to utilize your footwork well, what you can do is you can just sort of bounce on the spot, and we'll jump forward and then jump out, and we'll do that, let's say 10 times together. So you get into your fighting stance, let's go forward and back 5 times, and then backward forward 5 times. I like that a little better. So moving forward, small motion, don't worry about big jumps. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now backward forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to run you guys through any advanced footwork yet. We start getting into things like angling our feet or taking jumps from one side to the other, cutting angles, taking 45 degrees. All of that will be in the advanced guide. For now, just get used to bouncing up and down. And then when you have the bouncing down, get used to planting your feet. Remember, you never want to bounce and throw shots. I bounced to stay mobile, and then I plant when I want to throw. If I want to move forward and hit somebody, I move forward, throw some shots, and then I get back to moving. Bouncing is on the outside. Stationary is on the inside, for the most part, especially at the beginner intermediate levels. Let's very quickly move into 2 different drills, one slipping a punch, one slipping a kick. For slipping a punch, I want you guys to move your head to the side, but instead of just thinking, I'm going to the side, I want you thinking about the counter shot. So as I slip, my shoulders twist. If I'm standing sideways, you can see this even better. I slip my head to the side, but at the same time, my shoulders twist, and I come down like this. Now this gives me the explosivity to come up with my uppercut or up with my cross utilizing my legs. So right now, instead of going like this, just with our shoulders square, I want you twisting your shoulders from side to side as we drop. Let's do 10 of these. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now with the uppercuts, come out with the uppercut. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The slipping does not need to be rushed. You can take your time as you're learning. Now, talking about slipping kicks, the only one I want to talk about today is what happens if a round kick comes at head level. When I'm teaching my kids programs, I'd like to refer to this as a matrix slip, because you see Neo in the movie leaning way back. It's very similar to that, except we don't want to put all the strain on our back. If I just lean myself back like I'm going to limbo and keep my hips relatively positioned where they normally were, it's very hard on my lower back. So what I can do to slip those head level or chest level kicks is maintain my stance. And now as I slip backwards, as I turn backwards, we're going to utilize that same shoulder motion that we just did. We slip and we turn our shoulders. So think, turn your body sideways as you slip. So when I end up back here, I'm putting the weight onto my back leg. When I end up back here, I've twisted myself. So instead of being like this, where I feel it in my back, when I twist here, I feel it in my obliques. And I have this oblique muscle now to draw me back up. I'm so much faster when I turn sideways. If I come down and up, it feels very slow. When I go sideways, I can get back very quickly. Now the hands are also important. We definitely want to keep our back hand right by our head in case the round kick comes. But on the other side, we got our shoulder to protect. So we can let our lead arm drop, and it almost becomes a counterbalance to help us get back quicker. If I keep both hands up, the kick might catch this arm anyway and knock it to the side, but also now I have to fight myself back up with all this weight over my head. I slip and I get my shoulder high, but my arm down, and then I can lift back out again. I see the head kick coming, back and up, back and up, back and up. This is just one that you can start slow. Take your time, don't rush through it. And then start implementing it in shadow boxing. I'm working away, whatever I'm doing, I imagine, uh-oh, kick's coming, back, and then I either come back with my punch or I come back even better with my own kick. If you are drilling this with a partner, what you want to do is kick at each other at chest level so that when I'm slipped back, if there's any mistakes, it just clips my shoulder or my chest, as opposed to here, if I misjudge and my partner kicks at jaw level, I take the shot right in the chin. That's no good. So if you're drilling with a partner nice and low, remember to turn the body sideways as I slip backwards, drop the lead arm, eyesight there, and then I can pop right back up. Weight comes to the back leg. It's a very easy motion to create whatever that is, 6 or so inches plus that I need to slip that kick effectively. From here, let's move into catching the kicks very quickly. This is much easier done with a partner, but you can still practice on your own. I want you to start with the idea that the kick is coming at body level. It's very easy for me to stand my ground, let the kick come, and then wrap it up. But that is a very, very beginner level of catching this kick. What we want to add in is moving away from the kick. So as the kick comes to this rib cage, I take a step away. My right foot leads. If he's kicking off his right leg, I step away. At the same time, I grab that leg, I wrap it up really tight. When I get to this position, almost think thumbs up, and I drive that arm as high as I can, and I take my back, and I don't stay here, I lift up. Why do I do that? Well, it's all about putting this guy in a bad position. If he is here and he's nice and comfortable, he can lean in and throw punches. But if I lift his leg and he starts having to elevate and it starts hurting his ankle, it's very difficult for him to get any leverage to punch. So I see the kick coming, I step away, I wrap it up, I lean back, I lift my thumb high, although I'll keep my fist closed. And the only other thing is, this is very similar to what we talked about before. You don't want to misread a middle kick and then have a high kick come up. So when we were clearing the front kick, we cover the face. Same thing on this one. I don't want to let my hands drop and then come out to the side, because if I misread a Brazilian kick, I've dropped my arm, now I'm going to get smacked. I start my hands above my head, I reach out, and I gather the kick up. If I misread it for some reason, he's going to catch my forearm as opposed to my face. So I step, I wrap the leg up, I lift it. From there I can do whatever I want in terms of counter shots, sweeps. We'll talk about that in the advanced breakdown. And just remember, if the kick comes off the left leg, I step to my left. If it comes off the right, I step to my right. What I'm doing is I'm just going with the weight of the kick. So take off maybe 20 to 50% impact. It's surprising how easy it is to take this kick when you take a little step out of that power zone. And finally, guys, from here, I want to talk about faking. Faking is very important, because if every time you go to move, your opponent suspects, oh, he's going to come and try and hit me really hard, they are constantly on edge, they are constantly ready for you. But if you are moving around and you're faking and you're throwing little punches, little kicks, little lifts of the knee, and your opponent is constantly going, ho, 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 they're constantly nervous, you're constantly just throwing fakes, and then when you do commit to a full shot, they don't necessarily know that it's coming. It can come from out of the blue. So how do we practice faking? Well, there are a number of ways to practice faking. One of the easiest ones is just to pump a punch out about 50% of the distance. So if I'm standing here and I need to get to there to land, if I just go like that, and I just pump my arm out halfway, you're gonna get a reaction. I can sell it even more by adding some footwork in. So instead of me being here where I'm gonna land, I'm back here. And now I just do a little footwork fake. Maybe I pump my shoulder forward. Just something like that. And they're gonna bite on that. They definitely will. They're gonna see something coming and they're going to react to it, which will give you an opportunity. So as you're doing your shadow boxing, let's try it right now. Let's just throw a couple fakes. We'll go left arm fake, right arm fake, left arm fake, right arm fake. We'll do 10 of them. Pump your arm out halfway only, and then drop back. Try and really sell it by putting in lots of shoulder motion. If I just do this, there's not gonna be much of a fake. If I throw my whole body into it, they're much more likely to believe. And we won't worry about any footwork or any head movement. We'll just throw the hand out halfway. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're not connecting on those, but what we are doing is potentially seeing the guy react. Maybe he thinks the straight punch is coming. He closes up his guard. As he closes up his guard, I see the side of his head open up, and then I come with my hook. Or maybe they see the straight punch coming to head level, and they lift their arms, which when I fake, gives me the body shot. Fakes are all about creating openings and opportunities for you. For the intermediate level, we're going to leave it there today. We're just going to think moving around. You can add footwork in if you want by pushing forward. I do a little push forward, and I just pump, pump, bam, 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 and then I follow up. For faking on the legs, one of my favorite leg fakes is to fake a front kick. I lift my leg up like I'm coming with a powerful front kick to their stomach, whoop, and as soon as I see them react, I come with a straight punch off the same leg. Hup, boom, and just catch them in the head. Hup, boom. Gonna do the other leg too. Hup, boom. When you do this one, you really want to sell it. Don't lift your leg and keep this foot tucked in and let them see the top of the foot, show them the bottom. When I see the bottom of the foot, when somebody lifts and shows me the bottom of the leg, whoop, just like that, I right away go, uh-oh, kick's coming. If I do this, not so much. So let's start off, guys, right away, and let's work on defense into offense. Again, we've already discussed in the other back to basic videos how to block shots, but now we're going to be talking about blocking and coming back with your own punches. And generally, we don't want to just do one block. We don't want to always just be like, okay, we blocked and then hit back, that's it. Because sometimes we're going to have to block, 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 hit back a couple times, and then get back to blocking, especially if you're going to be somebody who's going to exchange at that punching range very often. So we won't start crazy advanced, we'll start fairly slow and we'll build our way up. Every combo we're just gonna throw 10 times and then we'll move on to a new one. All right, guys, first one today, I want us to work on parrying. The jab comes towards you, parry with your right hand. The cross comes, you parry with your left hand, you counter with cross, jab, cross, and then we're gonna roll out and under to finish off. Again, parry, parry, the arm that's free throws the first punch, follow again, follow with a third, and then roll out after. Parry, parry, 1, 2, 3, under. One more time, parry, the jab, parry, the cross, cross, jab, cross, roll out and under. We want to have this sequence be like you're just throwing 6 punches in a row. We don't have the beat going 1, 2, bup, bup, and then 3, 4, 5. We want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice and smooth. Right, let's get started. 10 counts. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a little shake out, and we'll move into a new one here. All right, next one, I want to start working on getting some legs involved. So we're going to start with the check. We're going to check the kick. As soon as we step down, we come with our counter cross and a follow-up hook. Again, check, cross, hook. From here right away, we're going to imagine the counter hook comes. We block and we throw our own hook again. Let's run through that 3 times slow. Check with the lead leg, drop down, cross, hook, counter the hook with your available hand, and then come back again with your lead hook. 2 more times, check, cross, hook, block, hook. 1 more, check, cross, hook, block, hook. On the block hook, it's really up to you what you want to do. If you came from 1 to 2 and your hand's already up, you might just come back and then come to your own hook without a lot of movement. I personally like to come up a little bit with my elbow and make sure my hand gets a little further behind my head, but that is entirely up to you. Let's go 10 counts, check the kick. As soon as you drop down, you're already in your cross, hook, block the hook, and then counter back to finish it off. All right, 10 times, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, guys, next combo on defense to offense is a little bit longer. We're going to start and we're going to work 2 slips. We're going to slip to the outside of the jab and the outside of the cross. From here, we're going to throw counter hook, cross, hook. Let's start with that and then we'll add on. We slip outside towards our back arm and then outside towards our front arm. We lead with front arm hook, cross, hook. Again, 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, we're going to imagine a body hook comes. We take our hand, which was probably nice and high. We drop down, elbow to hip. And then from there, we unwind our body with upper hook, cross. Let's do that end part again. Drop down, elbow to hip, upper hook, cross. One more time. Down, upper hook, cross. All right, whole thing together 3 times, nice and slow. Outside, outside, 3-piece counter. Block the body shot, 3-piece counter. Again, outside, outside, 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3. Again, outside, outside, 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't need to be super fast paced. It's up to whatever skill level you have. Just try and get through and get used to attack, defense, attack, defense. We want to be able to give back and forward, back and forward. Doesn't matter if you're leading on the offense or they start on the offense. It's just used to exchanging or getting used to exchanging. All right, ready? Let's run this whole thing 10 times. Slip, slip, 3-piece counter, block, 3-piece counter. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I made a mistake there. 8, 9, 1 more, 10. All right, guys, these instructional videos are good. They're comprehensive, but obviously you could keep working on that for a whole hour. You could just drill this back and forth on your own or with a partner for an hour to get really good at it. I don't want to spend that type of time, so we will move on now and talk about changing combo levels. So when you're starting off and you're getting an introduction or sort of to intermediate level of striking, very often if somebody's holding pads for you or you're hitting the bag, it's a lot of stuff at the same height. But what we want to do is we want to start switching levels. It's not even just 1, 2, 3 and then, oh, I'm going to switch levels. We want to be really creative with our level switches. So we want to do stuff like up high, to the middle, back up high, down low, to the head, to the middle. So we're rapidly changing. So people are constantly having to chase the height, and it's not just as simple as them going, okay, he's throwing a 5-piece combo. All I have to do is put my hands here and I'm pretty much covered. As soon as the level changes start happening, people have to start making adjustments, lifting legs, dropping elbows, all those sort of things. Those create openings which will ultimately lead you to scoring. So let's run through 3 combinations here. We'll start a little easier and we'll work our way up to slightly more difficult. We will incorporate the legs on these combos. And let's have our first combination today being jab to the head, cross to the body, inside low, obviously down to the leg, back to the head, and then finally down to the body with the punch. So we have 2 punches, followed with a low kick, followed by 2 punches. We always start with the head level and go down to the body. Again, jab, cross, inside low. There's no skip here, it's just shifting my weight backwards. Right from there, back in, cross to the head, and body shot. Again, let's run it. Jab, high, cross, low, inside low, cross, high, body hook. One more time. Jab, cross, inside low, cross, body hook. Let's run that combo 10 times. Again, just getting fluid. We don't want a break in pace. We don't want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the guy's constantly, without a break, having to switch and defend at multiple levels. All right, ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, guys, next combo. Everything except our last technique is coming straight down the middle. I like sometimes throwing a lot of shots right down the middle, and then coming around, because people get very set on, okay, I can just block here. Just block everything coming this direction, and they start forgetting about the sides. Makes it much easier to land round kicks to the leg or catch round kicks up behind the ear. So this one will be a little bit trickier, but our combination is a front kick initially down to knee level. All I want you to do is shift your weight back, lift up, and just tap out to the knee. We're just using that to gauge our distance. We touch the knee, we step down, jab, cross, jab. Let's run that again. Front kick low, jab, cross, jab. Right away from there, we utilize the same leg, except this time we come up to the stomach on the front kick. So we have front kick low, jab, cross, jab, front kick to the body. Again, front kick low, jab, cross, jab, front kick to the body. As soon as we drop, we throw a double jab there, again making him think down the middle, and then we come with a back leg round kick, right down to the thigh. So the whole thing, nice and slow. Let's run it 3 times. Low front kick, jab, cross, jab, middle front kick, double jab, low kick. Again, front kick low, jab, cross, jab, front kick to the body, double jab into the low kick. One more time. Front kick low, jab, cross, jab, front kick to the body, double jab into the low kick. All right, again, guys, this is back to basics, but we are doing the technical advanced guide today, which means some of the combos have to be a little bit more difficult for all those guys out there who are more advanced. I want to keep this video challenging for them. So let's work this combo 10 times. Try to keep the pace nice and fast. Ready? And 1. I'll give some time in between combos if somebody's going slower. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Just 4 more. 7. 8. 9. Last one. And 10. If you guys are keeping up, nicely done. Let's move to our last combo on changing levels. All I want to do on this one is kind of work, let's say, Nate Diaz style, where we're letting the hands just sort of flow from one to the other. We're going to throw 2 punches, find the body, throw another 2 punches, and find the body to finish off. Our combo is going to be uppercut off the backhand and a head hook. Those 2 are coming both at head level. Upper hook. Right from there, the lead arm is going to throw again, but down to the body. We transition our weight and we come right down to the midsection. Again, upper hook down to the midsection. One more time. Upper hook down to the midsection. From here, we loop in 2 big hooks, alternating arms, and then we finish with a body hook or shovel uppercut. Again, uppercut, hook, transition, catch the body, 2 big swinging hooks, leading off to the back arm to finish off the combo. Again, upper hook, body hook, head, head, body. Head, head, body, head, head, body. One more time. Head, head, body, head, head, body. We want this one to be really fast, really fluid, no pauses in between. So it's as quick as it can possibly be. So the guy goes block, block, he gets hit in the body, he comes down here, you smack him 2 more times in the head, then you catch him on the other side. All right, let's set up and let's get this one flowing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ready. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright guys, we're moving on to footwork mid-combo. When you are a beginner, it is okay to plant your feet, punch, 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 move, plant your feet, punch, 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 and that's basically the extent of your footwork. But as you start to get to intermediate, and definitely when you get to advanced, you want to be able to move forward and move back while throwing punches so that you can change distance but still stay offensive. So we will very simply start with something that's not too much to ask. We're just gonna push forward, push forward, push forward, push forward, push back, push back, push back, push back. All with the jab, never taking a break. Always extend your stance, shrink your stance, push, throw the jab, push, throw the jab, push backwards, throw the jab. Everything's fairly fast, right? Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that nice and quick on your own time. Forward, go. Backward, go. Forward, go. Backward, go. Now we want to be able to do the same thing, alternating arms. So it's not just one side. We want to be able to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So my footwork here is left, right, left, right. Notice my hips and my shoulders are stepping and weaving as I take those little plods forward and back. And then what I do is I add my punches. Every time I step with my left, I punch with my left, step with my right, punch with my right. Same thing when I'm backing up. I just want to be able to move non-stop as I'm throwing shots. Doesn't have to be hard right now. All right, let's start nice and light. Moving forward, go. Backward, go. Forward, go. Never letting your feet come together. Backward, go. Always a good foot between. And forward, backward, and pause. Now what we want to be able to do is mix up the punches. So it's not just 1, 2, 1, 2. We want to be able to transition between hooks and uppercuts. So as I move forward, I mix up the attack and the angles. So I'm keeping my opponent guessing. I can switch levels as well. All right, let's go nice and slow. Moving forward. And backward. Just little steps. Forward. And backward. One more time. Forward. And backward. And now pause. Now what we want to finally do is let's set up, let's make this realistic. We're going to move forward with 3 jabs. 1, 2, 3. We're going to plant our feet, throw a combo, and then back out with 3 jabs. So the only time my feet are planted on this entry and this exit is when I'm actually doing my attack, my really hard attack. This is set up, set up, set up, power, 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 exit, 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 all slow. And try to change your tempo on the power. The entry and the exit are fast and light. The combo is based out, knees bent, with lots and lots of power and speed. All right, I'm just gonna call it 5 counts. When I say 1, you go 1, 2, 3, throw a quick combination, and then back out for 3. That's 1 whole count. All about the footwork on the entry and the exit, combo in between. Ready? And 1. And 2. 3, 4, and 5. We're going to start first one with slip the jab, slip the cross, roll under, and then fade back like it's a round kick. So I come, slip the jab, slip the cross, roll the hook, fade back on the round kick. So slip, slip, roll, fade. Lead hand can drop. All right, ready? Just 5 counts on this one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, next one, guys, we're going to parry the jab. We're going to parry the cross. We're going to imagine they do a switch round kick. Off their cross, we come up elbow to knee. All right, let's run that again, then we'll add our last technique. Parry the jab, parry the cross, check the round kick. We're going to imagine from there, it was 1, parry, 2, parry, 3, check, they come down, and throw a front kick, which we are going to double hand trap. On the double hand trap, we're not going to follow up with anything right now. We're just going to stick to the basics of just blocking everything and then getting a nice catch off. I will be sure in the future to do a full video on what to do once you've caught a front kick. So again, parry, parry, check, catch, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 counts. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, guys, last one for today. We are going to go block the jab, block the cross, block the head hook. From there, we're going to go check the low kick. We're going to imagine they put it back down and they come for a head level round kick. On the head level round kick, we have 2 options. Option number 1, after blocking 1, 2, 3, 4, is to come simply across with the cross block and leave it. The more advanced version is to hook from there, pull my stomach through, and sweep the kick. So the 2 options are either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is just a little longer because of that scoop. Again, only 5 counts. Ready? Block the jab. I'll go towards you guys. Block the jab, block the cross, block the hook, check the low kick, and then deal with that round kick. One of 2 ways, up to you. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there you have it, guys. If you made it through the whole thing, you kept up, congratulations, very nicely done. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you haven't already, get subscribed. Train hard, guys, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.